and as a lifelong hater of the "she's not like other girls" trope across all forms of media, even I have to admit that Maomao from the Apothecary Diaries is so not like other girls. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Ape the Otaku, and today we're going to be exploring Natsu Hyuuga's use of the "she's not like other girls" trope in the Apothecary Diaries, with obviously the main character Maomao. But more specifically, we're going to be examining how she subverts the trope entirely while also playing directly into it. And I'm saying this in a complimentary manner because I think that this is really hard to do. Now, you already know the vibes. We're going to break this video down into 3 main sections. First, we're gonna look at the "she's not like other girls" trope in general across media. In the second section, we're gonna hyper-focus into Maomao's execution of that trope throughout the Apothecary Diaries. And in the third section, we're gonna talk about how the use of this trope, and more specifically, how Natsu Hyuuga uses this trope to add richness to Maomao's character and build on the trope itself. And my hope is that by the end of this video, you guys will see how I see that Natsu Hyuuga's execution of the "she's not like other girls" trope in the Apothecary Diaries is masterful. It's done in a way that I'm not sure we've ever seen in media before, let alone in an anime that is technically geared toward the male demographic. And there are no disclaimers for this video because I'm going to keep all of my examples anime only, so we can all enjoy this in the hive together. Let's get into it. Okay, so before we get into Maomao and the Apothecary Diaries, we have to first discuss the "she's not like other girls" trope and how it appears in film and media. Now, if you have even ever dabbled in feminist theory, you already understand that the "she's not like other girls" trope has been the scourge of women in media for decades now. And unfortunately, it is a byproduct of the male gaze, which I know that term gets overused in the zeitgeist now, but its original meaning was to describe the way women are depicted in film specifically. So that's what I mean when I use it now. Going back to the trope, I think the craziest thing about the "she's not like other girls" trope is that it always gets introduced in a complimentary manner. And on the surface, it may seem complimentary until you actually unpacked what's implied with that messaging. The "she" in question is not like other girls, and that is what makes her good, special, worthy, deserving of the journey that she's about to go on in the story. But what's implied in that statement is that the other girls are not good. They're not special. They're not worthy. They don't deserve whatever amazing adventure can be before them. And it's important to note that this trope never really shows up when commenting on a female character's bravery or courage or nobility, things that maybe perhaps on a scale of morality would make someone not like others, would make someone more deserving, more worthy. No, instead, it is almost exclusively only applied to vanity points. She doesn't care about makeup or the way she's dressed. She's so not like other girls. She works on cars and has a beer with the guys. She's so not like other girls. She wears jeans and dirty sneakers. She doesn't care about dresses and high heels. She's so not like other girls. This trope highlights female characters who are seemingly removed from aspects of womanhood, girlhood, or what we would consider traditional femininity. And when it's employed, it inherently marks that girlhood, womanhood, and what we would consider traditional femininity as less than. Very similarly to the male gaze, it is a product of misogyny. The "she's not like other girls" trope is designed to make women and girls feel like existing outside of women as a community is a good thing. And that's because it's designed to undermine feminism. And in my opinion, its more insidious use is when it's employed by female writers, because it's really just an illustration of their internalized misogyny, which we all have suffered from at some point. We see examples of this in Suzanne Collins' Hunger Games series. At some point in the series, I believe Katniss says verbatim, "I'm not like other girls who care about clothes and boys." She's living through an apocalypse. Why is that her concern? We also see this in shows like Girls, which, to be fair, I think Hannah is written to be as insufferable as Lena Dunham is, but that's a story for another video, another channel perhaps. So let's just move on. My point is that this trope is being deployed by male and female authors alike. And when you start the Apothecary Diaries, it is very easy to believe that Natsu Hyuuga is about to take you down that same road. And to be frank, she does. She sets up Maomao as the quintessential "she's not like other girls" character, but it's what she does after that that turns the trope on its head. I want to set the scene by reading an excerpt from a Medium article I came across in my research that I think perfectly will get us on the same page. It's by Alyssa Bristow and it's called Not Like Other Girls: How to Avoid This Toxic Trope in Your Writing. Meet our heroine. She's an outcast, but that's okay because she's deep. She's got skills that make her stand out. She's smart too. You won't see her getting hung up on all that superficial stuff like relationships or fashion or diets or makeup or shoes. Maybe she's a free spirit, a little bit wild. In fact, it's partly her rejection of all this superficial stuff that marks her out as our heroine as soon as she steps onto the page. Is that not Maomao? Maomao is 100% written to be not like other girls. She isn't concerned with marriage, though she is of that age. She cares more about her scientific research than gossip or hanging out with friends. She does concern herself with makeup, but not in a way to enhance her beauty, but rather to subdue it. Very mindful, very demure. She can outdrink men. She knows how to make bombs. She's highly educated. The women around her see her as quirky, as different. She herself acknowledges her otherness as a young woman, and yet she still doesn't fall victim to the pitfalls of that trope. And that is because just as early on, we see that though she is not like other girls, she still understands and, more importantly, values the importance of continuing to be in community with them. I think of her interactions with Xiaolon and Lady Gyokyo's lady-in-waiting Yinghua, both of the times when they're trying to gossip with her. And she is genuinely not interested in whatever they're talking about, at least not at first. But she still does her best to fake it because she understands that this is a form of bonding, which is to say community building. Further, in light novel 1, Maomao even says she doesn't understand why, but women seem to often take a liking to her. First, she experiences it with the women in the brothel, and then again in the Jade Pavilion with Lady Gyokyo and her ladies-in-waiting. It's clear that Maomao understands that not every woman is going to be in community with her. That's just not realistic. But it still sets a precedent for the audience and enforces for us that Maomao has positive experiences being in community with women. And not just to be in community with them, but to be in community with them while still being herself. And we're going to talk more about this in section 3, but the issue with the "she's not like other girls" trope isn't that it frames one girl as special, but rather that it frames her as outside of community with women, and that being what makes her special. But Maomao does not do this. She is still her cold, distant, non-boy crazy self, and yet she constantly finds herself being embraced into the community of women that she's in. And we know that this is something she finds comfort in, right? She thinks fondly of the women at the brothel, the 3 princesses at the brothel. She thinks fondly of Lady Gyokyo and her ladies of waiting. This is a positive experience for her. My personal absolute favorite example of this is at the end of the Shi Clan Rebellion arc, when Maomao and Shisui are talking, and it's right before Shisui is about to head off to her death march. And before she leaves, Maomao pulls her back, she cleans her face, she touches up her hair, and when she goes to add her hairpin, she's conscious of the right placement, considering all the other adornments Shisui already has on. These are not things that Maomao herself bothers with. But she understands that beauty and the performance of beauty is a part of Shisui, and quite frankly, a part of girlhood. And so she happily adjusts these things for her. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Maomao does not miss an opportunity to be a girl's girl. Another great example of this is when she tells Consort Liwa about the special technique that she can try with the emperor. I think you can look at it as a simple passing of information, but I also think it's deeper than that. She's sharing this technique not just to pass on knowledge, but also to give hope. Lady Liwa is dealing with emotions that Maomao herself cannot relate to. She's lovelorn. She's heartbroken. She thinks she has been abandoned in favor of Lady Gyokyo. And so Maomao shares in the time-honored tradition of girl talk and shares something that she has never even tried. She's only ever heard of it, but she thinks it will give Lady Liwa hope, and it does. First, it embarrasses her, and then it gives her hope. I think it is fascinating. Maomao is both the quintessential "she's not like other girls" while also being the quintessential girl's girl. The duality is just artisan level crafting. I think Natsu Hyuuga's approach to employing this trope with Maomao, yes, it does add to the richness of Maomao's character. Of course, I also think it builds on the trope itself. Here's what's beautiful about Hyuuga's approach to writing Maomao. Maomao is not like other girls. She is different. She does attempt to exist outside of her femininity. We see this in so many different ways. But one, she doesn't think that any of that makes her better than the women around her. That is an important distinction. And she doesn't hesitate to be in community with these women either. Whether it's a helping hand, a listening ear, a hygiene tactic, tips for hair, makeup, skincare, Maomao is always going to step up and be the girl's girl every girl wishes they had when they were in like a club bathroom or something. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? And two, though Maomao does attempt to separate herself from her femininity, she's still aware that she has it, and she's not above using it to get what she wants. We have to remember, not only was Maomao raised by courtesans in the pleasure district, she was trained as a courtesan. She has an intimate knowledge of the inherent power that comes with her femininity. And I meant what I said at the beginning of the video. I'm not going to get into no spoilers, but if you've read Light Novel 5, this is exactly how and why Maomao is able to turn the situation with Jinshi on its head. She reaches back in that noggin, moves aside all the scientific jargon, and she grabs hold of what she learned when she was being trained in the way of the woman. And she regains control of that situation. I would argue she left that situation with the upper hand, but again, we're not getting into spoilers here. If you'd allow me a moment to digress though. I think this is something that Natsu Hyuuga is doing repeatedly and with intention. She has women in general in this day and age have no agency, and she sets them up to utilize, and dare I even say weaponize, their femininity to get the upper hand on their male counterparts. We see this with Lady Fuyu and how she's able to outsmart the emperor, leaning on her pride as a dancer. We hear countless stories of past courtesans that Maomao knew in the pleasure district who are able to utilize their femininity to get the upper hand on their male counterparts. And this isn't exactly anime only, because I feel like they gloss over it in the anime, but it is in light novels 3 and 4. So it's information we should have already had right now. But an excellent example of this is Lady Anshi and the older court ladies. Despite having virtually no real power, they are running circles around the eunuchs in that palace. And Lady Anshi is running circles around the decision makers in the kingdom in her own special way, and I don't think anybody is peeping. I swear, the Apothecary Diaries needs to be taught in feminist theory classes everywhere. But let me jump back into Maomao. Maomao understands that while the performance of womanhood is a part of womanhood itself, it is not the only part of womanhood, and not even the most important part. She doesn't need to be like other girls to recognize and honor the shared experience they all have as women. A small tidbit that always tickles me is how she's always like, she doesn't want to get like low-ranked people in trouble. But we can see examples of this whenever Maomao gets involved, and like the woman involved gets like a slap on the wrist and the man involved gets like beat up. Maomao lets the women off so easy, and the eunuchs in the palace are getting 50 lashes every time she shows up to the scene. Okay. We've seen her do mental gymnastics to help women who should be punished face less severe consequences. This is a part of being in community. At the end of the day, she knows who the real disenfranchised parties are. Okay, I'm not done yet, but if you've made it this far, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you have the option to hype this video, go ahead and press the hype button. YouTube has decided that hypes and likes, I don't know what the combination is, but when you hype it, it does a big thing for small channels like myself. It helps me grow the community. So click the hype, click the thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. All right, let's recap. So first we looked at the "she's not like other girls" trope and how it's often employed in the media. Then we looked at Maomao's execution of that trope and how, though she is written to be not like other girls, she does not treat that as a badge of honor. And lastly, we examine how Natsu Hyuuga's use of this trope in the Apothecary Diaries just helps build richer characters. And again, it is no secret how great of a writer I think Natsu Hyuuga is. I feel like she needs more awards under her belt because it's a masterclass in how to write women who are special, who are standouts, without disparaging women as a collective. I hope you guys like this video. I am rereading light novels 1 through 4 in preparation for the rewatch series that's going to drop. If there were any scenes that you guys want to like further dig into, a lot of people have mentioned the ghost story scene. Let me know in the comments. I'm just gonna add it in so I make sure I don't skip it during the rewatch series. If there's anything you guys want to watch for the filler episodes that I just started dropping that are just about random animes, not the Apothecary Diaries, let me know in the comments. Also, if you're watching this and you're like, hate watching my videos, you can feel free to stop doing that. That's the nicest way I know how to say that to you. So that's that for housekeeping. Hope you guys liked the video. Hope you guys liked the video. I hope you guys like the next filler episode, and I will see you in the comment section. Johnny.